Imagine you won the lottery. What would you do? I know we've all done that. We've all daydreamed. You know, I'll quit my job, I'll buy a mansion, I'll maybe give a little bit to the poor, travel, you know, all those things. And in a way, the servants in this gospel reading are winning that lottery with all the money that they're given. Because a talent is 6,000 days' wages. So for those of you who want to do some multiplication or division, it's about 15 years, a little over, of wages, all given in one talent. So if you were making $50,000 a year, it would be $750,000, $1.5 million, and $3.75 million that each of these persons got. A huge sum of money, no way about it. And so what do? Well, the first two take their money and double it. They use their money wisely, and they go and make another 2 and another 5. But we have the other one, the one who receives 1. What does he do with it? Well, first of all, I always kind of pondered that. What does he do with that? Well, first of all, he knows that it's not his, because he doesn't then go out and spend it with wild abandon. You know, he doesn't squander it all. Instead, he buries it and then returns it back. And so, again, he isn't, in his little speech that he's about to give to his master, he doesn't say, well, you gave those two 2, those 2 and that other one 5. No, he realizes the great gift that he's given, this huge amount of money, even at 1 talent, 6,000 days' wages. Take your own salary, multiply it by 15, and you know that's a lot of money. Instead, why didn't he do anything? He goes and says, Master, I knew you were a demanding person. Now, we're not starting off well here. I mean, if you call me demanding, if I call you demanding, what am I saying about you? I'm saying that you're really a taskmaster and you really want things, and so you're kind of hard. And then he goes, piles it on by saying, harvesting where you did not plant and gathering where you did not scatter. Now what are we saying here about this guy? Okay, imagine you're a farmer. You have your field, you plant your field, you do everything that you want with your field, and it grows up great, and you're about ready to harvest, and I show up with my tractor and harvest it all and take all the corn and grain. What would I be? A thief. He's harvesting where he did not plant. He's calling him a thief. After all this time, after giving him a talent, 6,000 days' wages, he's calling him a thief. He's calling him demanding. He's giving up all this stuff and says, here it is back. He doesn't want the responsibility of the talent to which he's been entrusted. And since he doesn't want that talent, he buries it. And not only that, then when he comes back, he just gives it back to him. And it is taken away from him. I think in one sense he thought, well, how can I lose? I mean, after all, here it is back. You gave it to me for safekeeping. I safe-kept it, although burying it in the ground probably is not the best idea. But regardless of which, here it is back. There you go. And he is called a wicked, lazy servant and loses it all. How much worse could it be than if he actually used that talent, tried to gain more money with it, and lost it all? He would still be called a lazy servant or an incompetent one and still get kicked out. He's still outside. He had the chance and he had the talent and he did nothing with it, and it's left behind. Because he loses the talent, and we all lose our talents at some point in time. Take, for example, the lottery. Did you know that 30 to 70%, depends on who you look at, of the people who win multi-million-dollar lotteries are broke within a few years? They spend it on all the things I just said. Go traveling, quitting your job, having a mansion, giving to charity. All these things are broken in a few years. They lose what they have been given. And so too the wicked servant loses everything he has because it is eventually taken away from him. The gifts and talents we have are eventually taken away from us. I remember all the things that I could do when I was in my 20s that I can't do today. And I kind of dread when another 20 years, what things I won't be able to do. And it is a true statement that the talents we have eventually are taken away from us. So we're given stewardship over them for a little while, to have them grow, no matter what talents we have. Look in the first reading. The talents of the worthy wife. She obtains wool and flax and works with loving hands. She puts her hands to the distaff, her fingers ply the spindle. She reaches out her hands to the poor and extends her arms to the needy. None of these things are extraordinary. None of them are like, oh my God, she preaches to the world, or she heals people with her hands, or anything like that. It's something mundane that she's faithful to the talent she's been given and is lauded as a worthy wife. For all of us, we have gifts from God. Some great, some less so low, some many, some few. But we all have these talents. We can bury them in the sand. We can bury them like by saying, well, I could never do that. Never try. Or I don't have the same gifts that this person does, and so I won't do anything. Or I wish I had the talent of, rather than the talent I do have. All these times, if we do that, we not only lose the talent, but eventually that talent will be taken away from us by time. Jesus Christ has given us the gift of our talents, the gift of serving him, the gift in whatever way it is, humble or great. It is up to us to accept that responsibility, accept that mission, as you would say in Mission Impossible. It is your mission, if you choose to accept it, to use your gifts and talents for the greater glory of God.